more. I mean,
Stay away from me.
Why?
I just want to go back to my room.
Why?
Well, I'm very confused. I just need time to think things over.
You've had your whole fucking life to think things over. What good's a few more minutes gonna do you now?
Please, don't hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stay away from me.
Wendy.
Stay away.
Darling. Light of my life. I'm not gonna hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your cheat codes in. Hey, you guys. It's October 9th, 2015. Welcome to episode 66 of the Cheat Codes Podcast. The next hour is us enjoying a couple beers and going over our favorite bits from the past week in video game tech and pop culture news. That beer thing has got to get edited, but we'll talk about that in a second. I am your host. My name is Joe Erskine, and we're coming to you from inside room 237 at the Overlook Hotel. Lloyd, the bartender, is keeping us well lubricated. All work and no play makes Cheat Codes a dull boy, after all. Today I'm here with Cheat Codes producer and editor, Mr. Joe Wendy Torrance Arroyo.
I channeled my best Wendy.
Cheat Codes contributor, Mr. Nikk Red Rum Golesh.
How's it going?
And we're honored to be joined by Allison Road developer and axe-wielding psycho, Mr. Chris Here's Johnny Kesler. Welcome, man. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really happy to have you.
hey guys, thanks for having me. Really a pleasure.
Today on the show, Chris is going to help us make a little sense out of the following before the proverbial blood wave comes surging out of the elevator. If you're a video game voice actor, you're about to go on strike. Maybe. Don't worry, Peter Dinklage won't have to hold a picket sign. They're calling in Nolan North to hold one for him. The Late Show joins the ranks of other late night shows catering to the gamer set. Stephen Colbert recently welcomed guests like PewDiePie and No Man's Sky dev Sean Murray. And I guess next week, a Legend of Zelda Orchestra is coming soon. So we're hoping that next up is Iwata as a hologram rapping alongside Tupac, which would be great. Yu Suzuki's Shenmue 3 broke all sorts of records in terms of crowdfunding, and now he wants more. Apparently, little schools in China don't have any more money to donate. For today's lightning round, we will try to round robin these little bits. What if there was an app that let you rate people? Now there is. It's called Peeple. You're now going to need your own PR firm to let people know that you're not a bad person, you're just misunderstood. And Microsoft bought Havok from Intel this past week. They probably could have spent that money cutting the price of the HoloLens dev kit, but whatever. And finally, Dying Light responds in the best possible way to a drunken fan's questions about the game's portrayal of electrical systems. Don't worry, guys, it wasn't us. And about what we're drinking. The edit that I was talking about earlier. You should be aware by now that no Cheat Codes episode is complete without a brew to wash down the conversation. However, due to the time difference with our guests, we are recording this episode at 9 a.m. So Bloody Marys, anyone? Hell yes. Complete with gherkins, garlic, stuffed olives, and this weird inedible garnish called celery?
It cleans your teeth.
It's mostly water. Chris, if you please, tell the fine folks at home where people can check out what's happening with Allison Road and Lilith. Maybe a little bit about yourself and where people can get after you on Twitter.
Sure. So, hey guys. So first of all, if you want to catch up with us, we have like presence on Facebook and Twitter, and recently on Kickstarter also. And actually, Twitter is super easy to find. Well, even Facebook, if you just look for Allison Road, come up with the website. We also have a presence on Reddit, which is not moderated, I have to say, though. So don't get in touch with us on Reddit. I never see it. And a little bit to us. So we're a newly founded studio, actually. We only founded this year. I started working on Allison Road like last year next to a full-time job. And after a while, it just became apparent that this game could become a lot more than just a hobby project, you know. So I started assembling like a small team, and the team became more and more people, and then we decided, okay, it's actually a good idea to get us all under like one umbrella, so that we have that we become a proper company basically to make this game. And that's basically how we got formed. It was a pretty uneventful story. It's just a bunch of like really enthusiastic guys who, most of us actually have a background in the film industry, who wanted to make a video game since it's like a lifelong passion for us, you know.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Well, it sounds eventful to me. I don't know. I think that's such a cool thing when a bunch of guys get together, really interested in something, and just decide to go for it. Because a lot of people have that idea, but then they take the pot smoker approach and they're like, yeah, it's cool. I started that project, but I didn't really get more than 10% done. And I'll just pretend. I'll pretend like I'm still writing that novel. How about that?
for 20 years. Yeah, exactly.
But seeing it through takes a hell of a lot of work, and you guys are putting the work in, and that's really great to see. So.
Cheers. I think I think the thing is, like, a lot of people are curious about stuff, but the thing is that you can try a lot of things, but when you find something that you're really passionate about, it's a lot easier. I mean, for example, I used to play the guitar when I was a teenager, but I still like it, but I wasn't like super passionate, so I never became like Kirk Hammett or anything. So.
Maybe later we'll convince you to grab the guitar I can see behind you and
play us out or something.
Play us out.
So I'm sure you hear this all the time, and I know that there's been a lot of talk with the whole Konami PT situation and canceling Silent Hills. I just want to know one thing. What came first, the PT demo, or was Allison Road already in its infancy at that point?
Yeah, it was. So basically what happened is Allison Road was conceptualized as like a bigger game, actually. And then I was because I have a background in doing environments for film, so I'm very aware of how much work it takes to get a big project done, right? Mm-hmm. So I was always a little hesitant, I mean, I did little bits and pieces here and there, but at the same time, I wasn't fully committed, but because I just knew that it takes a whole crew to do it. And at that point, it wasn't really at that stage. Then PT came around, and I was like, whoa, this is fucking awesome. I mean, I love this game, man. Sure. It's only like in a corridor, right? So with like super little resources, they did so much, right? So I was like, wow, okay, that's incredible. I mean, something on that scale I can actually do by myself. So then I took these Allison Road ideas and I rewrote it so that it fits in like a lot smaller setting, like in a house, basically. And then it got started. So basically the idea was around before PT, but then PT was really the jumping off point.
Nice.
I mean, it was, however, I have to say, it was not supposed to be like a spiritual successor, because only like 8 months or so into development of Allison Road, it became apparent that Silent Hills was going to be cancelled. So, yeah, I mean, it was lucky for us, but at the same time, it was never really intended to be,
Right. Just a weird timing thing at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't wish that on other companies and things like that, but at the end of the day, like, when a good thing can come from a bad thing, that's always, it's nice to see something like that happen, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it was just an insane coincidence, actually.
Right.
Like, I was really sad about the cancellation because I think this game would have been totally amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the same time, if you think about this from our point of view as like a first-time developer, really incredibly lucky, right? So
totally
ride the wave, man. Ride the wave, absolutely.
What are you working on specifically with the game? Like, what's your role in content creation or?
So basically for the demo you saw on YouTube, I actually did everything that's on screen, like all the assets, textures, Lily, environment. And then we had like a sound guy, and like Jonas is doing sound effects, Marco is doing the music, Patrick and Alex were doing the coding. So I did all the visual stuff. But now I'm actually doing it together with Garrett and Lucas. So I do all the assets, and I work on the story together with Paul, writing the dialogue and all these sort of things. So sort of like all-rounder, so to speak.
I feel like that happens a lot with smaller studios. Like, it's all kind of like jack of all trades.
Yeah.
A lot of
Actually, all of our guys are more like generalists,
Right.
Yeah, totally. That's cool.
A good know-how for all departments. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. If you're all good, then we're gonna get this show rolling here. Not that we aren't already, but specifically with the topics. So there is a pending VO actor strike happening, or about to happen. Kyle Orland over at Ars Technica is the article that we are referencing specifically, but apparently unionized voiceover actors are looking to go on strike in hopes of forcing publishers to provide revamped terms for their work. SAG-AFTRA, which is the division of the Screen Actors Guild, announced on October 7th that a 96.52%, that's very precise, its members voted in favor of going on strike. Like I said before, the strike hasn't begun yet, but SAG-AFTRA will be convening meetings with publishers like EA, Activision, Disney, and Warner Brothers to negotiate new terms of pay for VO actors. Okay, so before we get into even more depth, how worried should fans be? How worried should studios be about this arrangement, depending on the terms that they come to as negotiations continue?
I don't know. I think it could go a lot of different ways. I think that after reading a lot of the information on what they're actually asking for and what the negotiations are about, I am definitely siding with the VO actors on this one for most of it. I mean, I can't say 100%, but maybe, what is it, maybe I agree with them 90 something, 96.52% agreement. I just like some of the things in there about receiving like stunt pay for or like vocally difficult things, like if you make someone sit in a room and scream their lungs out or something. Like if you got an Allison Road VO actor to come in, maybe you'll have to pay him stunt pay now because screaming is hard on your vocal cords.
Well, I'm curious, does this SAG stuff actually translate over to England, or is this a strictly an American thing?
It is, because isn't one of the A's in there America?
it probably, if it's not, then it's association. But I agree. I think for the most part, at least from what's been coming out of the news, I've been siding with the actors to a certain degree because I don't feel like their demands are too much. But the most important thing is that the old contract has expired. So whatever happens, they need to have a new set of rules kind of put in place. You know what I mean? So,
and if they don't in time, then it turns into like kind of like a government shutdown scenario, right?
Right.
It's the government of video games.
Yeah, where it's just like Nolan North on a corner picketing. You know,
by himself.
Yeah, by himself. That's it. Yeah, him and Troy Baker just hanging out. You know,
to be fair, they can like throw their voice and sound like multiple people. I don't know.
How much are you guys doing your VO in house at the moment, or have you guys already started recruiting voice actors and stuff for Allison Road?
No, yeah, we already got some, but it's not in house. Actually, one of them is based in Hawaii, and the other one is in the US. So it's basically done remotely. But I have to say, like, on that topic, I also agree with the voice actors. I mean, because the thing is, people think, like, yeah, they're just, like, talking, but that's not true. I mean, look at what Troy Baker, for example, does for, mocap and everything. I mean, they're, like, real, full-on actors.
Yeah.
They bring the character to life, I mean, because the body performance they give also for the mocap, I mean, the body language, that's basically selling what you see in the game. That's the character's emotions and everything, So,
exactly.
I mean, aside from the facial performance. So, I totally agree with them. I think they deserve more. I mean, look at what movie actors make.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous that the difference is so huge. It shouldn't be that big, especially given what type of, the type of money that comes in the game industry for this thing. And I think the greatest thing about it, though, is that the voice actors get to... I watched the whole documentary on voice acting in film and TV and games and stuff like that, and it was really great. And I think it's called like "Hey, I Remember That Voice" or something to that effect. I'll post it in the notes when I actually get the real title. But one of the things they talk about is probably the greatest thing about being a voice actor is it attracts people who don't really want the kind of fame that you get, but still want to make a decent income doing acting. It's tough to be an actor,
be a performer,
and then end up on where your personal life gets affected by the fact that you made it. And it's really nice to have an avenue where you can be an actor and not have to worry about whether or not you can go to Disneyland without being, accosted.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, in a way, like the game VO actors, they sort of expose themselves to the same problem. Like, if they are big, like look at Troy Baker's. I mean, I didn't even realize something happened until I checked out his Twitter profile like weeks and weeks ago, and it just said like, okay, I quit Twitter, and then I did some research into why. Oh. And in a way, they have. In a way, they have the same problem as the big Hollywood actors. Once they become like super popular, that they get like haters and all this sort of stuff. So it's sad. I mean, I do think they deserve to be compensated for all of that.
No, and I agree. I think we're in this weird time too, where more and more like voice actors are becoming more of like household names. Like we can all sit here and talk about Nolan North and Troy Baker because we know who they are. You know what I mean? But you talk about people like Ashley Birch or Jennifer Hale, all of these people that have kind of FemShep, for instance, like who have come out in support of this new negotiation and everything else, and these guys are doing awesome work. You know what I mean? Like they're known for a reason because of their own talents, and obviously because they're part of huge projects that are very successful. So compensation is like, so if Allison Road sells 2 million copies, are you willing to send a bonus to your voice actors in Hawaii and what was the other one, New York, or where was the other one?
The other one is in New York. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
In New Jersey, actually. Yeah.
But that extra royalty check after 2 million copies of Allison Road get shipped, you're gonna send that with a smile on your face. I take it, right? Yeah.
No, I mean, we actually do that because the thing is, you have to think about us. We're like a small studio, right? So we don't have the budget to hire someone for like $500,000 or whatever. So that's actually what we do. Like people, they are really passionate about the project, so they work for little right now. Thankfully, otherwise I couldn't even afford them. But then they get. If the game does well, then they get something, of course.
Yeah, good old sweat equity.
Absolutely.
You got to do it.
No, that's awesome. Now, hopefully it all works out. Like, I'm hoping that this doesn't become like some sort of dramatic scenario where there is some sort of like weird picketing and then there's like another LA riot or something like that. But really, hopefully what happens is they come to some reasonable terms. I don't feel like what they're asking for is unreasonable. They're not saying like after 1 million copies we want royalties. We want after 2, and then every consecutive 2 million after that. So if like 2 million copies get sold, we want something. If 4 million copies get sold, we want something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if having stunt pay and stuff like that too is reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just I'm curious about what's going to happen with all this, like how long it's going to be dragged out and everything, I guess. I'm curious to see if like they're going to hire scabs or something to like fill in for a little while or something, and then suddenly Seattle catches a touchdown pass in the end zone that they clearly didn't get or something.
Wow, you had to go there. The American football reference. All right.
I don't know. It could be fun for a little bit to see what happens, I guess, but I don't know. I didn't really see what they all wanted, or like I didn't read the article to
it's not too bad. It's the compensation after the royalty checks after 2 million was one of them. The stunt pay for doing vocally stressful work. There's also additionally stunt pay for, or actually they need to have a pay to have a stunt coordinator on site for the times when they're doing the mocap versions, because right now they don't, and they're actually making them do some shit that could get them injured now. And they're concerned about being there with nobody to coordinate and maybe step in and tell the director like, hey, let's calm down for a second and
take
not
a break after
please
1
don't
hour
murder my
screaming.
client. Thank you.
Yeah.
So little things like that, and then there's one more, just so that the listener has kind of everything I know of so far. Also, right now in the current contract, they have the ability to fine. I can't remember. Oh, it's $2,500. They can fine the voice actor, right, for being, quote, inattentive. In that, like, if they're in the booth and maybe they check their phone because they have an email or shit, then they actually have the right to fine that voice actor. Which is like, what? Take that out. Are you fucking kidding me? When was this made?
Well, like, not for nothing. Like, I'm married and I'm a father. So if I had a voice acting job and I got a text from my wife while working that like there was something wrong with our baby, like I would get fined $2,500.
I think what they expect is that right before you go into the booth, right before you go into the booth, you have the auto response text that's like, "At work, thank you for your reply," and that's what your wife gets when she's like, "Baby's choking."
Baby's choking. Yeah. Oh no. Oh my god. Yeah, we should get rid of that.
I'm just curious what that means, I guess. Like, how are you inattentive in the booth? Like, you're just not talking at the time or something, or you're not voice acting. You're just.
It's a good question. I mean, I'm not a voice actor. I don't know what that is or what that's like. But I imagine, like, if you're not recording at the time, then you can kind of either be... your phone, yeah, right? Like, yeah.
But wait, are they saying, like, if you are, like, you're in the middle of a session and you're just like, "Don't go, Johnny." And then, hang on a sec, I got a text.
Emoji. Yeah.
I mean, that makes a little sense. I mean, you can finish your line, I suppose, but...
But for me, I think that the professional world kind of works itself out. If you want to get hired again, then you probably shouldn't be an asshole in the booth, right?
That's correct.
Having to have the fine there doesn't matter because you're going to sink your own career when you do that all day in a booth, and then they tell everybody else who might employ you in the future that you're a dickhead who checks his phone during sessions. You don't need to put a fine on it.
Yeah.
Like, this seems stupid.
Chris, maybe it's time to give your voice actors a call just to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Make sure they're not inattentive.
Yeah, don't call them. Don't call them while they're recording, though.
How do you do the remote recordings?
Well, I basically send them a script, and then they take a few takes and send them over and then get some feedback. And then they record it again if need be. I mean, they're pretty good, like, because, you know, they take the same line like 5, 6, 7 times with, like, different intonations. So it's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Do you ever, like, get 6 and you're like, I want the first word from 1, the second word from 2, the way you pronounce the third word from 7.
just split the difference.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like, we'll just edit it in post.
All right, so speaking of the celebrity aspect of what voice actors are becoming, I think it's only a matter of time, right, before we start seeing guys like Troy Baker and Nolan North showing up on Colbert and or, you know, maybe Jimmy Kimmel or stuff. I guess in England it would be the equivalent of what Graham Norton, maybe, like good late night television. I'm not sure, but you know, maybe Jules Holland if you're a musical act. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Stephen Colbert, obviously new to taking over for David Letterman. He's as far as I'm concerned. I've only seen a couple episodes, but he's crushing it.
He's coming in strong.
He's coming in real strong.
Yeah.
But what's been really cool in light of like the whole Jimmy Kimmel streaming debacle, and then we've seen some success with Conan doing the whole gamer-centric clueless gamer bits that he does with one of his producers, and now we see Colbert kind of like opening up the doors big time to guys like PewDiePie and Sean Murray from Hello Games, one of the main guys working on No Man's Sky. And apparently next week we're going to have a big orchestral performance from the touring Legend of Zelda band that's going to do a bunch of Zelda songs on late night television, which is reserved historically for stuff like the Beatles and U2 and stuff like that. So kind of a big deal. Like, this is kind of one of those, like, I think burgeoning on a moment where we all of a sudden we're starting to see like the relevance of the culture becoming important and something that people want to cater to a certain degree. I think it's
really cool. It's odd to argue the relevance of it when it's on a network that is broadcast nationally or something, when like the main form of the people that enjoy that kind of content watch their content online instead of like NBC or...
That was one of the things when PewDiePie was on.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. He's like, "Welcome to television." He's like, "This medium is powered by Steam."
Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. Like,
didn't Colbert thank the audience? Was like, "I want to thank the internet for letting its emperor come and visit with us today," or something like that. Yeah.
It's like you get somebody who like PewDiePie on there, and none of his fans probably watch the late night show or something. They probably watch all of his stuff online.
To be fair, I watched the PewDiePie clip on Colbert on YouTube.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Which he also mentioned. He's like, "I'm really hoping that you share this with all your YouTube followers."
I think it's a cool thing. I think I like it because it's not being super like selective or reductive in the way that maybe Kimmel was and is now trying not to be. I Conan might even be guilty of this sometimes too, because I think the way that he talks to his producer when they're playing certain games could come across as like, "Oh, I'm just this ignorant older man who doesn't understand what gaming culture is," or whatever. Whereas I feel like Colbert is coming through in a really trying to embrace the culture itself and really kind of get into it. Like when he was talking to Sean Murray, and obviously I think Sean Murray was doing him a favor a little bit, because like when they were going around the planets like naming shit after Colbert, you know what I mean? Like it was a great moment, you know what I mean? And it's
Mulbert.
Yeah, all those
Codbert,
yeah, all that stuff. What was really cool about it is that I actually felt like you could see Colbert's face change and actually get really excited about. Like, I don't know if the guy plays games or not, but I felt like he actually was genuinely interested in playing that game. You know what I mean?
He does play.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Just so you know.
But his excitement about No Man's Sky fueled my excitement about No Man's Sky. So, are you in touch with those guys over at Hello Games at all?
No, I'm not actually. And also, I have to admit, like regarding this entire topic, I don't really follow the US late show. I have to admit.
I imagine it's such. Yeah, I imagine that's fine. But at the same time, like even having like you guys have late night over there, like I was talking about, like Jules Holland and Graham Norton and stuff like that.
Do you like late night TV? Is that your thing?
I don't watch much TV at all, I have to admit. However, having said that, I think it's awesome that because the thing is, I'm more the type of guy I really enjoy playing single player games. I just fire up my console and play a single player game. So the thing is, like, I wasn't really exposed that much to other gamers as such, because it's not an interactive multiplayer experience, right? But now that we're making this game, obviously, like we're like full on in this industry now, and it's insane how huge it is. Like, I had no idea, to be honest, how passionate gamers are about games. Like, it's incredible. It's not just like a hobby, it's like a lifestyle. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
So just people like cosplaying, or how they meet up, and even when they play, these guys will record YouTube videos right off like Let's Plays. Even that's like a real social event. Like, we had like LAN parties when I was a teenager, and now you meet up to play a game and record it for YouTube. It's just so cool. So I think it's really, really awesome that guys like Felix, like PewDiePie, help to get this to like the real, like the mass audience. It's really, really cool.
Hey, what do you think about this this paradigm shift? Because what we're seeing now is there's a lot of sports broadcasters and stuff like that. There are people jumping ship because they don't think that esports is a real sport, and it's only a matter of time, before that becomes just as big as every other kind of sport, or that gaming is taking over in terms of popularity versus late night television. That's why it's interesting to have Colbert, have somebody on like that who's basically putting his career out the way the internet is taking away the newspapers.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that shift? Like, are you excited for it?
I think it's cool because the thing is, if you think about gaming as like a mechanical thing, so like for example, these guys who play Dota 2 and League of Legends and stuff, like it's actually like a real skill. You know what I mean? It's not just like a game in like a condescending sort of sense. It's like a serious skill. Like you have to have good reflexes and coordination and everything. I think it's great that it's actually like a competitive sport that you can make real money with. I think it's awesome. And it's really exciting because I don't know if you guys are into VR at all, but the thing is, I think we haven't seen anything yet what's yet to come in terms of games with the advent of VR next year in like households, I think it's just going to be incredible where it's going to go,
Between that, I mean, stuff like AR glasses, like the HoloLens or whatever. I'm actually wearing an Oculus T-shirt right now, so I definitely, I'm with you on that for sure. No, I agree. I think the topic is not necessarily specific to Colbert. The topic itself is like, to me anyway.
Sorry, I went to the off topic there.
No, not at all. It's totally fine. I'm actually going to come back around to your point a little bit, but it's more emergent about how the culture is changing. And
right, that's what I was trying to get at.
And I completely agree. Where I think it's not how the culture is changing so much, but how it's coming more and more to the forefront. We see this being acted out through the fact that comic book movies are like the hugest franchises in the world. This is all the same demographic. Games are bigger than ever. It's almost bigger than a movie industry right now, like based on revenues on a year-to-year basis. And the fact that people like Colbert or these cultural luminaries or the stuff where we get a lot of our culture from and reported on, like they're recognizing it too. And I think that's for good or for better or for worse. It's still relevant, and I think that's what's important. That's what's cool about it. So
yeah.
Sorry, I'm mixing drinks over here.
Go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna
Can't
say,
just have one.
Where's Lloyd? Yeah, anyway.
I thought the game industry had been making more money since the movie industry, since Halo came out or something.
I think that's when they first started to like kind of match up, and now I'm sure it's been more since then. Based on a global scale, I think it's probably safe to say
when you spend $500 million on Destiny or something, and you make it all back, and then
that's with publishing fees and
I know, but you're still spending
that's a lot of
you're still spending
money.
A lot of money, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's really incredible. Yeah,
when you hear people in the industry who are like producers or like higher up in AAA companies talk about burn rates in conversation, it's fucking insane.
It's scary
when they're just like, what's your burn rate? I don't know, like millions of dollars a day. All right, it's not that bad, but I
think what I really like about this is it's not really, it's more of like getting our culture out into the rest of the world. Like the people that watch Colbert that aren't involved in the gaming industry or something, like people can watch this and they'd be like, oh, it's more relevant now, and then they can have more of an understanding of our lifestyle and what is important to us in a way. Like it's more of, like you said, they had the Beatles on or something on the late night show or something. Rock and roll wasn't necessarily accepted right away either, and neither were video games.
So that was ushering in the British invasion. Was definitely the them coming onto the late night TV shows that everybody watched over here, and you get bands like Zeppelin and the Beatles and Rolling Stones and all that. And it was what I think that TV was what did that for. I mean, obviously the music is good. That helps.
That does help. Yeah, and at the same time, like that's kind of the thing where I feel like. The games are going to be good, and they keep getting better all the time. You know what I mean? And so to have that same kind of outlet now for gaming culture is a huge deal. It's important. I don't know. It's also, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree with you. Also, not to mention that, the more mainstream, so to speak, games become, like the more it's acceptable in people's heads, the more companies are willing to commit like a serious budget to it, and that also helps like R&D and development for the future, because if you have big budgets like Destiny, you can do really big things. I mean, look at this game. It's incredible. It's like World of Warcraft sort of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks Activision for that one. But but you're absolutely right. Like the scale of it, and again, like not to kick a dead horse, but scope too and everything else. Like it becomes this epic thing, and when you have resources to do that, it's because people are helping you out. They're buying your games and everything else, and you keep growing. And as long as you keep putting out good things, people will keep coming. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. And it also helps like the small guys like us. I mean, games are so popular now that I'm sure you know that Epic decided like 8 months ago to give Unreal Engine out for free.
Right.
Yep.
So basically, everybody can develop a game. There's free assets. There's a free engine. I mean, you have to pay royalties once you start shipping your game, but until then, you can just have fun for no cash at all, and that's only possible because there's such a huge audience for Unreal Engine games. So basically, they recoup from somewhere else. But it's incredible that there's even opportunity for people to just jump into this, for free.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Are you guys using Unreal? Or are you guys?
Yeah.
We're
you
using
are, right?
Unreal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, do your research, Joe Erskine. Even I.
Whatever.
Dude,
I like to
out
fly
of
off the cuff. Yeah. Well, all right. So we've been talking about people making money and everything else. So let's transition here a little bit.
Once you've made money,
do you want more money? Yu Suzuki, who we've talked about prior on this show, is the guy leading the charge, trying to get Shenmue 3 made. They've broken all sorts of records on Kickstarter. I think to the tune of about $6.3 million crowdfunded, specifically through that venue. And we talked on a previous episode about all those really poor schools, or a poor school specifically in China that has donated not once but twice to the top tier item for $20,000 a pop, just to have their presence felt in the game and to support Shenmue 3 in the first place. But what's happened now is that Yu Suzuki has come out and admitted that he could use a few more bucks.
just a few more.
Just a few more dollars. He's already got funding, the undisclosed amount from Sony and another undisclosed amount from Shibuya. And I think what's really interesting is that he's got $6.3 million of the public's cash. And now he's like, hey guys, can I? My pockets aren't quite full yet. If you could fill my pockets, I'd be really grateful.
How much more is he asking?
I don't know.
For sure?
I'm not sure.
It wasn't a hard number,
No.
but I'm actually really excited about this topic for many reasons. One, because I'm interested in the dollar amount that was put on Allison Road, but we'll get back to that in just a moment. And then two, because there's been that ongoing Kickstarter issue that I think we've beat to death.
Yeah, we talked
on
a
this
lot
show,
about it recently. Yeah.
where a lot of companies are going in for very small amounts on Kickstarter, like 300,000, 500,000, or whatever, and then they're doing that to take it to a publisher and say that people are willing to give us $500,000. Please give us $6 million or $10 million to make the game.
Right.
And the thing that sucks about that is that the audience then has this weird misconception about how much money it takes to make a video game. And they think that if I fund a game for $500,000, I'm going to get a AAA game back, because they don't understand where the rest of the money came from. And because of this scenario, this is what this sounds like to me, except it sounds like somebody being transparent about it. So there's no part of me that's actually upset about how this is going. Yep. I mean, you worded it kind of goofy, like, oh, I want more money in my pockets.
I word everything goofy. It's fun.
But to me, it sounds like somebody who did an honest Kickstarter campaign and then says, if we really wanted to make this game at the AAA scale that everybody wants it to be, it's going to take more money, and I want to let the public know that. I don't want to disappear into the publisher realm and try and get the rest without them knowing, or from VCs or something like that.
I feel like what they're doing, what he's doing better than, say, like the guys who are behind Mighty Number 9 right now, is that instead of having 4 concurrent Kickstarters or whatever it is, and giving zero explanation and zero transparency about where this money's going or what's actually happening with the project, he's just being like, hey, we're designing for these tiers. If we make this much money, this is the game you'll get. If we get this much money, this is the game you'll get. I'm going to keep asking for money because we want to give you the game that we all really want to make. You know what I mean? But in the meantime, we're at this tier, which is a great tier to be at. We might sacrifice things like graphics for story and everything else, but I can tell you that if we've planned ahead for this, and that's he's putting it out there, which is important.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, when you say planned ahead and they come back and ask for more money, I don't feel like they really planned ahead. It's like they should ask for the right amount at first.
Well, I feel like that's when you get to have the privilege of the ask, where it's like, hey, so we have this $300,000 contingency plan, and then we have this $500,000 contingency plan, and then we have this multi-million-dollar contingency plan, and we're at the $500,000 right now. But if we get to this next one, man, we can really do this awesome thing,
Yeah, and that's cool. That's planning ahead, I suppose. But the way you worded it or something.
Yeah, but Nick, this plays off the thing where I just mentioned that half the audience, all the people that are going to be contributing to the Kickstarter campaign, have an incorrect view of how much it costs. So if they put up the real number, they're not going to get funded. Nobody's going to want to give them that much money. I mean, Star Citizen did because they went over their goals. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So why didn't you guys ask for $10 million?
Well, for us, this wouldn't work at all. I mean, look at
no hesitation. I love it. Yeah.
No. I mean, the thing is, you need to be realistic about these things. Like, for example, there's like a BattleTech MechWarrior campaign that just launched like last week, and it's already at like 1.5 million. Or the Shenmue blew everything out of the water with like 6 million. The thing is, these are like well-established developers, right? So people trust them that they actually make something worthwhile out of their cash, right? So, but because we don't have a background in games per se, people go like, well, who are you guys? You know, I mean, this would have never worked. And the thing is, it's also, it's not like I would like to put such a burden on people, you know, like as in we need your cash, otherwise this is totally gonna suck. Because personally, I think like you cannot go on Kickstarter with a game and say, yeah, we have this great idea, but you have to pay for our idea. It's just weird. It doesn't work for me. So the thing is, we wanted to go on Kickstarter and give people, like, if they want to be in the game, you know, to be part of it, which a lot of them suggested and asked for, which is incredible. Like, we really love that, right? So we wanted to give them a chance to be in the game, and at the same time, it gives us a bit more budget to make, you know, more stuff. But it's not a question of this game is going to get canned because the Kickstarter isn't working, you know, because I think this is really dodgy. If people go on Kickstarter and say, we can only finish this game if you get your cash. So you want cash for something you haven't even finished. That's just really strange, you know. And especially if you don't have like a proven track record, you know.
So are you seeing that then as a sign of a lack of passion then? Because to me, that's kind of how I hear it, is like you have a passion project that you're going to go to the ends of the earth to complete no matter what the cost, whether you have funding or not, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're just going to do this because you fucking love it and you want to put this game out. But then you're giving people an opportunity to make it even better is different than people who step up to Kickstarter and say, without you, this game goes dead in the water because somehow we won't care anymore if we don't get funded, which seems weird.
Exactly. I just don't understand it. I really never understood it also. Like, because think about it, how bizarre it is that you go to a public platform and you say, I have this great idea, but you need to pay for it to make it reality. It's just weird, you know?
Depending on the context you put it in, it can be very challenging, for sure. Yeah.
I definitely think that's. I've never actually thought of it that way. I don't know why, but yeah, you definitely the way you worded it just shows how much passion you have for the project you're working on, which I think is just fucking incredible. And I don't think of the game industry that way for some reason, just because we're so used to. Well, we're making the transition from AAA to III to straight up indie, and I think that's awesome. And now we get a chance for people, because engines are free and things like that, you don't have to pay for a giant license. You can say, you know what, regardless of what happens with Kickstarter, I'm still going to make this fucking thing one way or another, because at the end of the day, I want to see a finished product of something. I just like to create, and I want to see it done, and this is something I want to make, you know?
Yeah. And I also think, like, for example, when people get a publisher involved, I think that's great, because then all of a sudden there's more money to make like a better, bigger game, right? But at the same time, like with the Shenmue campaign, I have to say I don't know all the background of it, but to me it almost sounds like a little bit like what happened maybe with Star Citizen, that there's certain things that get promised to the backers. So basically people, they put money into a product that they expect, but then later on it becomes apparent that they're never going to get this product that they sort of pre-purchased unless there's even more cash raised, which is kind of weird. I mean, it's sort of like you're deceiving people. But at the same time, I have to say I don't know all the background, so maybe they just want to make Shenmue even bigger, you know? I'm not exactly sure. Or are they actually saying they can't deliver the thing without more cash? Or
it sounds to me like Shenmue wants to be, you know, something that existed in its like as a natural part of its past. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody's trying to make money here off of Kickstarter, and then Yu Suzuki's going to go on the lam and just disappear with $6+ million. I think it's all going to go towards the game, and I think people understand that. And I think that that speaks to a little bit to what you were talking about, Chris. Is about a reputation. When you go on Kickstarter because you're known to have built something in the past or have done something, then it becomes maybe a little bit easier to get your name out there and then attract possible funding. You know what I mean? So
I have some specifics on what he was talking about when he did mention that they'd like more money to make Shenmue. He said that most of the money in games that are made today are actually, they sink it right into graphics just to make things more visually pleasing, because visuals will sell the game, and then the story will keep you playing the game and talking about the game and keep the longevity. That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, so what he said is with the current budget that they have now, they are not going to be able to make the game look very pretty, like incredibly great. And he said, no matter what happens from this point forward, we have what we need to make the game.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
we're going to focus on the story and we're going to make sure that it's great. But if you guys, like, if we could somehow scrounge up some more money, then we can make it also like really pretty. But they're going to make it no matter what. This money is so that they can make it look better.
Right.
I think that's great though. That's like straight up honest, because the backer's going to get the game they pledged for. And then at the same time, if people are like super into it, they can support it even more. I mean, they're not forcing anyone to support it, right? They're just like, well, if you want to, put down an extra dime to make the graphics even better, then you can. It's totally voluntarily. I think that's pretty cool, actually. What do you think?
It's been very transparent. That's what I like about.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And I think that's kind of one of the fun things, especially in a climate with like gaming culture. It's awesome that so many people are passionate about it, but it can also be a very kind of like vitriolic or hate-based kind of of audience too, for a lot of reasons. You know what I mean? But
stop reading YouTube comments.
I know, right? But transparency is one of the best ways to get through to that, because it's like you have nothing to complain about. We told you about what was going on from the get-go and everything else, and I think it's the right way. It's killing with kindness, man. You know what I mean? Like, just make sure you're being honest. Make sure you're upfront about everything. There's nothing wrong with it. I hope every poor school in China starts donating their money to Shenmue 3. Anyway, actually, I have two quick things here before we move on to the lighting round. Chris, what's the reasoning going to be if you guys succeed at raising your $250K that you're asking for currently right now on Kickstarter? So if you're listening, everybody, go to Kickstarter and donate your money to Allison Road. But what happens when you hit the 250? Is there going to be a point you think, or that you can foresee, where you're going to turn around and be like, maybe we should ask for more?
Actually, we do have some stretch goals. We have two already unveiled. See, the thing is, because the thing is, you guys are right. Like, I mean, people they don't really have a proper picture of how much it actually costs to make a game. That's very true. So we're like totally reasonable, because we said if we have all these translations, for example, then we need another like 70K or whatever, because it's a story-driven game, so there's going to be lots of text, right? So, I mean, there's some stretch goals. I mean, right now we're not anywhere near, so we don't actually reveal the other ones yet. But we do have ideas where we could need the money for, or use it for, But it's all optional things, I mean, there's a base game that's going to be made in any case, and the rest is more like adding to it,
Right.
I must admit, I looked at the pledge amount, and then I felt like a dumb fucking American when I looked at the number, and I was like, man, that's a specific number that they're pledging in American dollars.
Translation.
I was like, I pictured some guy with a calculator being like, oh, it's going to be like, 750 for 57 cents or pence. And then this all adds up to this really specific, ridiculous number, and then I'm like, oh my god, I'm such a dummy. Like,
conversion. Thanks. Yeah.
So now it's all clear to me now.
Right. So if you got euros, you got rubles, you got pounds sterling,
rupees,
sure. I'm sure there's a conversion for that as well. But I don't know, make sure you head over to Kickstarter and make sure that Allison Road's getting your money, because we all want to see Allison Road. Am I wrong about this?
Yeah, no matter how many pesos it takes.
All right. Lightning round. Here we go, everybody. Everybody's going to have 1 minute to talk about the specified topic.
Or less if you don't.
And I will award points appropriately based on what you have to say. This is my favorite time in the show.
I'm going to get 100 points.
The first topic up for grabs, and we're going to start with you, Chris. Let me give you a little context. Peeple, the app where you rate people. I'm not sure how this is supposed to be a good thing. I'm pretty convinced that restaurant managers all over will have to defend themselves as well as their establishments now. So trolls everywhere rejoice. I assume that you're familiar with the app, or at least what it's promising.
I read like one article about it. Yeah, it sounds like with like Tinder 2.0 or something.
Yeah, that, or like you could even call it Yelp for people. You know what I mean? Right. That kind of thing. So we're going to give you 1 minute to tell us why this is
good or bad.
Just tell us what you think.
How do you feel?
Yeah. All right.
Starting now.
Yep.
I have honestly no idea why anybody would use such a service. Like, I mean, the thing is, if you just go on like I said, some of my friends, they're using Tinder, and I think you just swipe left and right, and then you have Twitter where you can directly like interact with people and tell them whatever you feel because of the anonymity of the internet. I have no idea why you could possibly need something like this. I mean, because it just, like you said, it just invites to trolling, and I don't know. It's not for me, man. It's not for me. I live in the real world. I rather tell people in their face,
How you feel about them?
Yeah.
About?
Yeah, you want to tell them to their face how you feel about them.
Oh, I feel great. Everybody's great. I love it.
5-star ratings all around for you guys.
All right. I'm gonna give you plus 10 points there, Mr. Kesler, for succinctly kind of describing what this problem is gonna hold and everything else. Mr. Arroyo. Or Wendy. I'll call you Wendy.
Wendy. Don't kill me.
No, he's going to give you a bad rating. There you go.
That's it. Exactly.
It's going to happen. All right.
You have a minute to talk about people.
Go. Okay, so the one point that Chris actually didn't mention, because he probably didn't know, is that you don't have a fucking choice, just so you know. If somebody decides to rate you on this app, you are on the app, buddy.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So... you don't have to join, but if you don't join, then your reviews will be shown to you on only the star ratings until you actually join the app, so you can find out what people have to say about you. So it turns out that this is going to ruin a lot of fucking people's lives, and before you know it, everybody's going to have to join this app because they're going to want to know what people said. I mean, curiosity is ridiculous. Also, they don't have a screening process for what 5-star ratings actually have descriptions for, so people are going to game the system to 5-star rate you but talk shit about you, and you won't be able to read it unless you join the app. So I'm just saying the whole thing sucks, and I hope they have some mitigation soon. And with 5 seconds left, I say I'm fucking scared. Nope, that's time.
Whoa. And your time's up. I don't know if you had.
I didn't know it was going to have an alarm. That's cool. I like it.
Mr. Golesh, tell me what you think about people. You have a minute.
What I think about people. I don't know. Like, it's weird. It reminds me of like you said, Tinder or Hot or Not or something, except for everybody can see your results or something, but you don't even have to join it. Uber or something, don't they have a service like this where like you can rate the passengers even, I think?
Yeah.
It's probably going to be pretty similar, but like you said, you don't have to have an account, so anybody can get rated. I don't know, this is silly, but I think people are going to go for this. I'm a little worried.
Community.
It's going to be odd though. Like, I hope they have to put their real names. Like, when you create an account, you have to use your real like Facebook name or like some kind of way that doesn't give you anonymity, so that people actually know that you're rating this person. So like, this person said this thing about this one person, because otherwise then the trolls are going to get out of control, because otherwise it'd be like baby doll 256 said you're ugly or something.
That's your time.
Baby doll 256. Yeah. Oh,
just so you know, it's not anonymous. You do have to link a Facebook account and a phone number that's valid that you can respond to text to. Yeah. No, so like, never mind. So you're a real person. That's what
Mr. Arroyo, plus 36 points for literally cramming as much information into your minute as possible. And plus 5 points to you, Nikk, for using my screen name, Baby Doll 256.
Joe Erskine to cap it off.
All right. I got a minute.
Rock and roll.
Okay. So I feel like this is actually a horrible social experiment gone wrong. Like, they want to bill it like it's supposed to be some like revolutionary app that's going to be like, oh, now you can understand, like, you know, if you want to know if you should interact with this person, all you have to do is look at your phone, because you're not doing it already. Like, congratulations, everybody. We've literally gotten to the point in the human race where we can literally rate ourselves on an app that just sits on a database. Like, we're doing, not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but we're doing the government's job for them. So congratulations, everyone. I'm just saying. The worst thing possible to me is like, I've had plenty of personal encounters, and I'm not walking away from those personal encounters, whether they were good or bad, and then being like, I'd rate that 5 stars, or I'd rate that 2 stars. Like, let me, instead of thinking about it and enjoying the interaction or loathing the reaction and then collecting my thoughts about it, like, I need to jump on my phone to do it. Like, this is the problem with cameras on phones and everything else. Like, we saw the Pope come to town recently, right? And I'm just, God damn it.
Out of time. Nice try. Didn't get it. Hey, I'm going to let Chris give you points on that one. What did Joe get, Chris?
Well, I had a 10, so you can't be more than me. So I give you 8.
You're playing this game correctly.
I like it.
Fair enough.
I should point out that it is split into 3 categories: personal, professional, and dating. Your ratings.
Oh, really?
Just so you know, that's so. I don't know, like what happens when, you know, you're married, Joe, I'm married. What happens when some random person just decides to troll you with like a dating rating?
I hope that my wife doesn't see it.
Yeah, how's that going to go?
Answer to that question. No,
what's this dating rating on Peeple, Joe?
I don't know. I hope if I'm logged in at that point, which I never ever will be. So feel free, everybody, to go and give me all the ratings you want to. But my thing would be like, I don't care, right? Because like, don't we all want to turn around and be able to say that like we don't give a shit what people think about us?
I'm curious, how are they going to, when they're rating somebody, how are they going to verify that the person they're rating is a real person?
They can't. You can file a dispute if you don't like it, and if there's enough of those going around for that same individual, they will remove the ratings by that individual. I don't know why I know so much about this fucking topic. And then,
no, I was like, what if I just
early adopter, huh?
Yeah, I created it.
What if I have the app and I'm a registered user and everything, and I just make up somebody and I rate them badly, and I create this one person.
Oh, the person you make up also has to have a valid phone number. I don't know how that part works.
How do you verify that?
Don't worry about it. I don't know yet.
This is. Can we?
I see hope.
Let's never ever use this app, guys.
Cool.
Can we make that agreement?
Cool.
We're never gonna.
I'm not going to use it, except I'm going to go on and rate your ass. That's fine.
That's how this is all going to work. Is that we're all just going to rate each other, but none of us are going to ever know.
Yeah.
Until we get notified.
When I said rate your ass, I mean like Joe Erskine's ass will have its own profile.
Yeah, I agree. I get it, and then I'll go on and dispute it. It's fine.
Yeah, I've seen it's cracked too many times when he bends over. Anyway, next up.
All right. Round 2 of the lightning round. We're gonna talk about Microsoft acquiring Havok from Intel. How does one incorporate physics into Windows 10, guys? Yeah. Are they just bolstering the tools they offer to their studios? We'll see. Between this and the new DirectX, I think we're up to 12 now, isn't that right? Yep. Didn't that come along with?
12 is coming, yeah.
Yeah, or it's coming like parallel to Windows 10 and everything else. But are we going to see Microsoft debut a game engine of their own making with all these parts? Is that what's coming out of this, or is that too much? Is that too much inferring? We'll see. Mr. Golesh, we're gonna go back the opposite way now.
The opposite way.
You have a minute to talk about Microsoft buying Havok.
This is kind of cool, I suppose. I don't see their point necessarily, I guess. I mean, maybe they don't need to make an engine or something. They have an operating system that people make engines on and use to make games or something. I don't know what they're doing exactly. They just maybe acquired the I don't know, is Havok a subsidiary or something of?
It used to be owned by Intel, but now
Microsoft has it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have much to say about it, I guess, just because I don't know. It's Havok. It's cool. It's a physics engine. I had fun with it, but
are you using it currently?
No, I'm not using it currently.
No, but we did for Mashball.
I remember that. Yeah.
I'd integrate it in. If Microsoft had Havok, I guess I would have to put more command line arguments into my physics calls instead, with a bunch of zeros and nulls or something. It's like add force to body. Yes, null, zero, vector.
He's so right.
I'm gonna give you plus 15 for just getting in deep on that. Getting really chaotic.
For the non-programmers, sorry about null.
Yeah. Function parameters, everybody. Okay. Mr. Arroyo, you have a minute to talk about Havok.
All right. Actually, I think this is a pretty good thing, because I'd be super bummed if Microsoft tried to build their own physics engine, because I don't think that'd go well for them. I think they're better off buying one than building one. Otherwise, we would get null, zero, null, whatever. So it's great, because now they bought one, and too fucking bad it doesn't take a bunch of null arguments. Great. I think it's a cool idea. A lot of things have been made with this. Halo used it. Movies, a couple movies used it. Space Engineers uses it. It's pretty easy to integrate more. He didn't say Eve. More than
you did. God damn it. Yeah.
So I'm excited about the prospect of it. I think it's a really good idea. I don't think that it has as much of an impact at the moment until maybe I see what actually happens with it. The difference between Intel and Microsoft doesn't make a big deal to me. A lot of people use Havok. A lot of people are going to use Havok. If they make it so that you have no choice but to use Havok, then I'll have a different opinion on the topic.
Okay.
Cool.
Plus 10 for good use your minute again. You structure your statements well, sir.
I try.
Well done. Mr. Kesler.
I have to admit I have literally nothing to say about this topic. I didn't even know. And Unreal Engine doesn't use Havok, so I don't know.
You can just literally be like, I don't give a shit.
You can say physics are cool. I like physics.
No fucks were given there.
All right, well said. +5 for no fucks given.
For being honest.
Yeah, absolutely. +5.
Did you notice he's deliberately rating me really low? Did you notice that?
I am noticing that. I think
I can't be
that's not
beaten
how
by
you-
my own guest, guys. I'm just kidding. Fine, +50 for no fucks given. How's that? All right, how about
That's
that?
better. That's
Okay,
better.
all right.
Although, just remember, like, I'm still gonna let Chris rate you every.
Yeah, that's fine. As he should. That's fine. I have no problem with that.
I'm gonna have him rate you in stars next time, like the Peeple app.
Yeah, we're definitely.
I'm gonna find you on that.
Joe Erskine, 1 minute. Go.
All right, so I think this is. It actually just kind of occurred to me while we were talking about it here, but everybody's been talking about Windows 10 and the Xbox Live app and how that's all going to integrate and everything else, and how Microsoft is supposedly doubling down on their attention to the PC gaming universe, right? So all of a sudden, to me, not just necessarily PC, but gaming in general, it makes sense for me to understand the idea that Microsoft now owns Havok. Because if they're going to be producing stuff in-house, if their own studios and everything else, between their graphics engine and now with the physics engine, like, this is just one more reason to understand, like, or at least bolster for Phil Spencer to come out, or anybody on the PC division to turn around and be like, we are taking our audience seriously when it comes to the PC gaming, demographic. So we went and bought a physics engine to help us do our job, to help you guys as developers to do your job and everything else. Like, I don't know. This just makes total fucking sense. Like, it didn't. When you sit there and talk about how Windows has failed, damn it, God.
You're bad at structuring your minute. That's what I think.
When Windows is bad in the past about structuring their time. God damn it.
Well, you don't get to talk anymore. Your time's up.
I'm the host.
This is where you get points from Chris.
All right.
I'm gonna give you 51 though, because
Wow.
I find it really cute. You like really dove into it, like big time. I like it.
I'd like to give him points for saying how cute you're.
Actually, I'm curious. I would like you to finish your thought.
No, I just think it's interesting that Microsoft has spent so much attention with the unveiling of Windows 10 and how it's rolling out and everything else, about how they really want to, like, they've let the ball drop when it comes to their PC gaming audience. So when they turn around and buy something like Havok and spend that much money to do something that productive or seemingly productive, I think it speaks very loudly to the commitment they're making towards their audience.
I still find it a little tough because I think they should be buying up an engine like Unreal, because so many people are moving to Unreal or Unity as a result of them making it free for people to use, that it seems kind of silly to just have like a physics engine and a graphics engine and then be like, oh, build your own fucking engine, and a lot of people are not going to do that. I mean, if there's anybody out there that has the resources to do that, it is Microsoft. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But they're on their way, probably.
I think it's a reasonable conclusion to make.
Yep.
So,
all right.
Anyway,
it's Project Spark.
Gosh, shut up.
Exactly.
When do?
All right. When drink do podcast. All right. Last lightning round topic of the day. How do you respond to a drunk fan poking holes in your game? The folks at Techland, who have been making Dying Light and keeping that going, one of the more critically received games of the year, another kind of peg or rung in the ladder of the zombie generation, had a very interesting encounter with a drunken fan who works on electrical systems and power plants and whatever. I don't know anything about this as far as like what that entails, but he had a lot to say about what was wrong with some of their modeling and the way that their electrical systems worked. Like, why in the apocalypse do we have electricity?
Well,
why do you go to the lengths of having a substation that is designed completely wrong? Like the whole thing. So
they had things connected to wood,
right?
For conducting electricity.
That doesn't make sense at all. I know that much.
He had a problem with that at first.
That's a good reason to raise the question. What I think the best thing about this is not only having a passionate fan, which if you're lucky enough to have a game that has a passionate fan like that, that's a great thing and a great problem to have. But at the same time, the fact that how you tailor your response the way that Techland did to this particular fan was, again, one of the reasons why we need more of this kind of thing to help garner and not coddle our audiences, but definitely like approach them in a reasonable and professional way.
So before we get to the responses, real quick, I'll just give like the outline details in case anyone in
context is important for this.
Yeah, just really quickly. After he was done, drunken ranting on Twitter about how bad their electrical systems are and their power stations, and he accompanied it with pictures of real power stations and how they're hooked up and how bad this is. Blah blah blah. They responded by saying like, we're surprised that you wouldn't be interested in maybe alternative forms of power, and we would like to unveil to you. And they released a video. They went as far as to record a video in game of the engine of the power that was generated and how it was the power mystery of the city. And it shows them starting up at the top, following a power line down into like a basement where there's a guy there that's guarding a bunch of zombies who are on hamster wheels, spinning around, running at pieces of meat. And basically, that's how they power the whole city.
But it was specific to the response to that particular thing.
Correct. One user made them go make a cinematic.
Right. Exactly.
So there we have it. Who's first?
All right. We're going to start in the middle this time. Mr. Roy, you have 1 minute to talk about how to properly respond to your fans.
I think this is fucking fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about this. It's interesting. Somebody gets paid at this company to work, and they got to spend a day. Thank God for the boss who says, you know what, you've been doing such a good job. You should just take the next couple days to respond to this dumb drunk guy. I think that's fucking cool. Like, they know that there was a possibility of some kind of virility from something like this, and it doesn't hurt, right? So in a way, it's actually a genius marketing strategy to take on something like this, to see it. The guy did his research. He wasn't being like a belligerent dick about it.
Well, the guy clearly worked in the field, like knew what he was talking about.
Right, and so they're looking at it like, okay, everyone knows what video game logic is, so no one's going to complain about it for real, but this guy is, and we think if we respond to it with something where we put a lot of effort into the response, that it's probably going to go viral, and it did exactly that, and I think that's 2 thumbs up to them for doing that.
All right. Plus 25 for being a positive Johnny over there.
Wait, do I get more points for using my minute wisely?
No, not this time.
Damn it.
Yeah. All right,
fine.
Mr. Golesh.
All right. This is really cool the way they respond and everything. I guess I'm a little curious about how drunk the guy was, and how do we know he was drunk if he responded on Twitter?
He literally says that he's had a few beers, so before he goes on this rant.
Yeah.
Okay. What was he drinking?
Don't worry about it.
I don't know. It's really cool that he's really passionate about the game. I mean, there's no negative side to anything he said, I guess, if he's involved in the game and in the community and trying to like question what they're doing with it. That's really cool, just because he must like the game if he has a problem with the power system or something. But I don't know. It's really cool how they responded. I don't know. I hope more developers respond in that sense, and I guess, but they can't respond obviously to everybody that does something like that, because it takes a lot of effort to put together a video. It reminds me of the one time when okay, never mind.
You don't have time for that shit. Nice try. It reminds me of the one time I'm gonna stop talking.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good try.
Yeah. Plus 10.
Yeah.
Because you're Nikk.
That's a dumb reason to give points.
No, I think by congratulating people for doing the job right.
Well, I'm just curious what he was drinking. Like
Tequila, okay?
Okay.
Moving on.
Aqua V, dude. What do you want? You know what I mean? Like,
Zima.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna take the next minute, and then we will let our guest cap us all off with the following minute. All right.
Cool.
So
he still gets to give you points. After
yeah,
this.
I'm fully aware. Thank you.
Ready to go.
All right. So we need more community management that's willing to do things like this. Chewing celery into a microphone is not good community management. What's great about this is they took the time. They appreciate the fact that their fans speak to them. It's all very indicative of not to keep coming back to this idea, but like it's so often the gamer culture gets associated with like a kind of this angry, spoiled child that just wants things now. You know what I mean? And so it's like what are the ways to handle your fan base appropriately? This is the perfect way to handle your fan base. You know what I mean? Yes, you can't respond to everybody, but you take one that would be very representative of the people that you are trying to talk to, and let people know that you are out there listening. That's all that matters, is letting people know that you are listening. And I think that's exactly what they did right about this. So hats off to Techland. Dying Light is cool. Zombies are fine.
Zombies are fine.
I'm just saying.
Good job.
Man, you're always doing so well with that minute.
Oh, thank you. I don't normally. I've been trying to focus.
All right, what is? How do you do, Chris? What points is Erskine getting for this one?
Well, how much do I need to give him to get him like ahead of all of you guys?
I have no idea. We don't do addition over here.
Yeah, I'm not even keeping track of the score, but you know,
I give you 5 stars, and if I ever see him,
That's great. Out of how many stars? Yeah, 15.
All right. So to close out the lightning round, thank you for your 5-star review. I appreciate that. I'm not going to refute that on the Peeple app.
if you find that one 5-star review, you know who it was.
That's it. To close us out today for the lightning round, Mr. Kesler, could you please talk about Techland's response to their drunken fan for 1 minute?
I thought that was totally cool. It was seriously awesome. I mean, the thing is, I read all these tweets of this guy, and yes, he said he was totally pissed. He didn't sound like an aggressive drunk, though. He sounded a bit like tongue-in-cheek, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, he basically just was taking the piss of the mistakes they made, like, quote-unquote mistakes. And the way they responded was amazing. I mean, because they could have just ignored him, or they could have actually like been dicks and responded in a bad way.
Yep.
But they didn't. They were just super cool and made a video. I mean, it was great. Really, really cool. I think that's the way you have to deal with these sort of things, you know?
I agree.
As opposed to not dealing with them at all. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just ignoring it, like, let's turn it into something. I totally agree. I totally agree.
It's like if they ignored it, it probably wouldn't have affected them at all. Like, they could have just ignored the whole thing.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Said, it wouldn't have changed their game. It wouldn't have changed like the way people view their game probably, but they responded and now we're talking about it on a podcast. And
I think it's helpful that the gamer didn't respond with, like, didn't have death threats towards I mean, like, because that's that's kind of what we
like
get a lot. It's
cancer or AIDS on someone.
Oh, you changed the kickback on that gun in Call of Duty. Go die. Like, are you kidding me? Like, no one's going to respond to that guy. But this guy's like, here's a photo of this. Here's a photo of a real power plant. Like, he did his
really
research.
like this tweets.
Yeah.
I find him quite funny, really.
Exactly.
No, and it, agreed. Like, he did come out, Nick, to your point, like, what was he drinking? I don't know. But the point is he made it clear that he was drunk, and instead of being belligerent about it, like you were saying, Chris, like, he made kind of like a factually based argument that was semi-well structured, being like, these things wouldn't work in real life. Why did you do it this way in the game? And
did you award him points?
No, I didn't. So for your finishing minute, being the anchor in our relay race, sir, I'm going to give you plus 1,000 points.
Yeah, suck it, guys.
Well, I have to kind of give you the reach around because you gave me 5 stars, so I appreciate it.
Yo, high five.
All right, sounds good.
That's using both hands, high five and a reach around.
Chris, man, I can't tell you how grateful we are that you could hang out with us for the past hour.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It was really fun.
Real quick before you go, and before we wrap this up, let people know where they can go donate to the Kickstarter for Allison Road.
Okay, it's http //www.kickstarter.com. Just go on Kickstarter and look for Allison Road. It'll pop up.
All right.
Geocities.com.
Yeah, right. What about if they want to get in touch with you? How can they come and tell you that everything you're doing with your power stations is wrong? On Twitter.
Well, we got Twitter, we got a website, AllisonRoad.com or LilithLimited.com or Facebook. Anyway, I mean, we are like all present.
All right.
Omnipresent.
I can't tell you how excited everybody at this table is for Allison Road. My wife is splooshing in her panties about how excited she is for Allison Road.
Jesus.
She was a big Silent Hills fan, man. I think she's just really into it. You know what I mean?
That was much. Actually, like Nat watched me play through the whole like PT thing, and when I told her about how, you know, I mean, I know that wasn't the original thing, but still the coincidence of it being the spiritual successor to PT. Yeah. She's pretty excited too.
I think it's an honorable hat to wear for you guys, and I know maybe it gets annoying, but I think it's a good one. But
take it and run with it. It's a positive thing for sure.
Absolutely. It's definitely a term of endearment for sure. I think we've done it for episode 66. Chris, thank you again, man. Really, like, best of luck with the next year. You guys are looking at December 2016 for release to go gold and all that?
Around that time, yeah.
Okay.
Still feeling good about that?
I feel good that Colbert couldn't get a release date out of Sean Murray, but we got a release date out of you for Allison Road. So.
Tentatively, no.
Yeah, that's fine. That's we get it. We get it. Yeah, well understood.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, man.
Yeah,
Dear listener, let us know what you think. Hit us up at cheatcodespodcast.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter as well. And get in on the conversation. Spread the word. Tell all your friends. And until then, stay tuned for a new episode coming next week. More good guests.
Yeah.
Joe, you want to say something before we go?
Well, yeah, we were just recently added to iHeartRadio, which we haven't quite mentioned on the show yet. It was actually a huge milestone for us. We got a lot of listenership. I'm drunk now. Don't even worry about it.
Bloody Marys.
Growing from iHeartRadio. We're grateful that they were willing to accept us and that a lot of people are coming in and listening as a result of it. So check us out on iHeartRadio as well.
I heart Bloody Marys.
Yes,
all right.
I do. I heart.
Until next
Alcohol.
week, Chris, thanks again, man. I don't know. Next year, we'll get you back on the show, yeah? Come tell us how
Yeah.
things are going.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.